since we lost the late president, Zambia's sixth president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. In the last 16 days, there have been many eventful occurrences and events. It all started in January 2025. On 20th January, President Edgar Lungu left home, left Chifwema, and came to the airport without buying any tickets, without buying anything. He just came to the airport. The plan was that since we have been stopped several times from traveling out, let's somehow try another way. And they came to the airport and bought last-minute tickets while at the airport. And that's how they left South Africa. In the wake of his departure, there was the UN Special Rapporteur whose delegation had arrived, and the local UN United Nations community was at the airport to receive the president, and many people saw the president being greeted by these dignitaries who recognized the late president. And so it became very difficult and embarrassing for the state to stop him. When he left, the civil aviation manager, Pokasonde, was suspended for allowing the president to leave. In the last 6 months, he's been in South Africa receiving medical treatment. Remember, he has a condition from 2015 when it was discovered that he had a narrowing of his esophagus. The condition was not fatal. It just required management, and it required him to see his specialized medical team once in every 6 months. Since 2022, President Edgar Lungu was denied an opportunity to go and meet his specialized team. In fact, it became so serious that in November 2024, his medical team expressed worry, and a private treatment was then encouraged that it should be done in Zambia. And the team traveled to Zambia. They saw President Edgar Lungu, and their recommendation was that there was nothing they could do while he was here in Zambia. The procedure should be done in South Africa the way they've always done it. And after the festive period of December and January, the doctors insisted that the president needed to come to South Africa. And that is how, on January 20th, the late president left Zambia to South Africa to seek his medical treatment. He's delayed medical treatment since 2022. He's been doing very well. He was very hopeful. Whatever procedures he was required to do, whatever treatment he went through, he was very hopeful. Even that day that he was about to, on Friday, before his demise on Saturday, he spoke to many people. A lot of people would tell you, those that would speak to him every day, that he kept on telling them that it was coming at the month end of June. It was not to be, and we lost him on that fateful day, Thursday, 5th June 2025. The crisis today is born from all this. Government didn't announce the demise of the late president. The government only came in 3 days later on Sunday when Secretary to Cabinet announced a period of national mourning. That was the first breach between the family and government. Because when the late president died, President Hakainde Hichilema sent in the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hakainde. On Friday, Hakainde held the first preliminary discussion with the family, and he was just interested in the body. He says, I've got a ZAF plane. We've been tasked to bring the body, and you should come in by tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday, because the president has to announce this period of national mourning. And the family said, whoa, vaneteka nyeni. Tuadikala kuno, imiaka iminta pendwa, imweta mwamoneka, tetumwisa ferelo mwasa tupumikisha afye, mwebile tulea kuzambia. There are matters to be resolved. We've been living here the last 6 months. There are even medical bills to be settled. There are all these issues. A meeting was rescheduled to Saturday. Again, Hakainde said, we have to go tomorrow. We've been given up to tomorrow. We have the ZAF plane and we have to take the remains. Said, no, it won't happen. First of all, the family, the community of Zambians in South Africa have requested for a church service, and we've considered it as a family, and we've given it to them. After this meeting, we'll be planning whether we are holding it on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how they can mobilize themselves. The earliest we can go to Zambia is Wednesday. So if the president wishes to declare a period of national mourning, then he should declare it when the remains of the late president and the family are in Zambia on Wednesday. It was not to be. On Sunday, we saw the announcement by the Secretary to Cabinet, and he announced a period of national mourning of 7 days. Without the body being in Zambia, without the widow being in Zambia, without the family being in Zambia. That was the first breach. On Monday, a team turned up led by the former Vice President, Honorable Hakainde, and Leslie Mbula. And when the family held the first initial meetings, they objected to the emissaries. The emissaries have been on record disparaging the late president. One of them had even issued a disparaging remark just a week before the demise of the late president. So that meeting boggled down. And the biggest issue the family was engaged in was a preparation for a church service that was due on Tuesday at the cathedral in Pretoria. So there was no further meeting. They went on Tuesday for that church service that you saw. And at the end of the service, you heard the announcement by the family spokesperson, Honorable Makebi Zulu, who put it very clearly that because they had not settled the matters that were on the table, there was even a very sensitive issue of the role that the current head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema, should play in that funeral. So they said, no, we just can't go now because there are matters to be resolved. And there's a delicate issue to discuss with the emissaries that the late president had sent. That evening after the church service and the announcement that threw everything now in disarray, when the announcement was made that the remains of the late president would not be going to Lusaka on that Wednesday, a meeting was held later. The family accepted that although they had serious objection to Honorable Enoch Kavindele and Mr. Leslie Mbula, they will proceed to meet him. Initially, they had met the Secretary to Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, but they said to respect the office of the president, because our patriarch held that office, he was president for 7 years, will respect the emissaries of the president. And so they participated in subsequent negotiations. So the sole issue that arose was the role that the late president would play. For the family, they had 4 main conditions. Number one, that there should be a church service in Ndola. There was a community of pastors and members of the church that had been praying from January 2025 to the period of his demise. So the family wanted to honor this community of churches. And remember, President Edgar Lungu was born on the Copper Belt. So they said, I think it would be appropriate for those 2 reasons. The people that have been praying and interceding with us, we honor them with a church service, and because he came from the Copper Belt. And then he should come to Petauke, a place of his birth, a place of his origin, and that there should be a church service in Petauke. The second issue was that the president would not travel on the Zambia Air Force plane that was provided, and that he would go the way he came. He came as a private citizen, and he'll be repatriated as a private citizen. And to that effect, even arrangements were finalized. One of the well-wishers had provided a charter for the late president's remains to be taken to Lusaka privately. That was a sore point, because government insisted they needed to pick the remains of the late president from the undertaker, take them to Lansaria, and put them on a ZAF plane, and the process should start from there. The family made it very clear. This is where a misunderstanding has risen, where some people are saying they asked for a private funeral. They didn't ask for a private funeral. They asked for the return of the remains of the late president, that the way he came is the way he will return, when we arrive at KK International Airport, the ceremony will take off by the state and the state takes over. The third request was that the remains of the late president will lie at Chifwema. Remember, Dr. Kaunda's remains, wherever they took the body, would come back and lie at Maina Soko Medical Center. In this case, the family was very insistent. One of the non-negotiable position, this one was not to be negotiated, was that the remains of the late president must lie at Chifwema the entire time. Whether you take it to Ndola, whether you take it to Petauke, whether you take it to Mulungushi International Conference, the remains should retire not at Maina Soko Medical Center, but at Chifwema, at the last residence of the late president. And the fourth and sensitive issue now was the role of the president. There was a request that the president must literally stay away from the process. He must not be near this process. He shouldn't, it was a difficult, sensitive one, but it had to be said. I think this was owing to the fractious relationship between the two. And it was advised that he probably could delegate, but whatever it is, he should stay away. An impasse arose. The government delegation was now reinforced with Chief Mumbi, who is His Royal Highness for President Edgar Lungu. I have stated on this program that he's a wonderful man. I met him when his son was unwell. He lived, he came and lived in South Africa for a period of 3 months while I was High Commissioner in South Africa. The family felt that Chief Mumbi, who had come in his role as a member of the House of Chiefs, should have come, because remember, they were trying to take the body of his son, President Edgar Lungu, to Petauke. So it was actually imperative that Chief Mumbi should, in fact, change tables and join the family to advocate, not be on the government delegation. But as it was, His Royal Highness was on the side of government, trying to persuade that mleteni umwana na ubebeda au bane imo mfumu imwenga mulina ifwe kuno, because we had ipo mwana wenu therefore kesa na Petauke. So there was that long standoff. We all discussed it, but finally there was a breakthrough. That was announced on Sunday, June the 15th. And we were all relieved that finally the president will be given a dignified send-off with state honors. And as Zambians would have loved any former president or president to be given the respect that is, desirous of his office. That evening, when we're preparing for the remains of the late president to come, this is very important, because it is at this point that President Hakainde Hichilema is blaming the family, heaping a blame on the family as if the family has been irresponsible, as if the family has reneged its commitment to the agreement. No, the family did not renege on any of the commitments. It is the president and his government that reneged on his commitment. A day before, on Tuesday, before the body could arrive on Wednesday, what did we see? We saw a huge announcement by the Road Development Agency that they will close that entire road from Leopard Zoo Road to Chifwema, 6 to 7 kilometers to Chifwema. The family was alerted to this public advert that was done by RDA and the City Council. We immediately went to work. I think it was treated as an excuse not to take the body to Chifwema. Because all of a sudden, RDA was to close this road for beginning, the period of the body that it should go to Chifwema and close it indefinitely for the period of rehabilitation of that road for from Leopard Zoo shopping mall up to 7 kilometers up there. The family felt that RDA was going to be used as an excuse why the body can't go to Chifwema. And they feared that when they arrive in Lusaka, they will just be told, but it's not our fault. They feared that you are dealing with people that are not sincere. They said, what about this? Credit to Patrick Kangwa, the Secretary to Cabinet. He immediately responded and he said, look, I am committed. We are committed to this agreement. I'll get RDA to revoke their letter. And within a period of 3 hours, RDA issued a letter that a copy was given to the family, and they said they would suspend the rehabilitation of Leopard Zoo Road going to Chifwema, and that they will resume the work on 28th June, a period after President Edgar Lungu had been anticipated then to have been put to rest. That was the first hurdle. Within 2 hours, kashicha mukolele wa kashinga waku State House nganina nyuyo asafumia program yawa president. And the program substantially differed with the agreement. First of all, the person to receive the remains of the late president would be President Hakainde Hichilema. Of course, the agreement was that the state honors and everything would be done, but it would not be superintended by the president. A second item, there was a private church service. Immediately the body remains, the state honors are given. There was supposed to be a private church service. Kashingari no kuwela mu VIP lounge muriamu inenga nikuisa, but there was supposed to be a private church service at the airport. The family got alarmed. Hey, church service ya fuma kwis. Finish kachitika pas church service. We should have a body viewing. You know, president, invani betile kuli in a private church service. Mr. Kangwa, who's a point man from the state, was immediately alerted about this program. That this program has substantially differed from what we agreed. And Mr. Kangwa said, look, I'm surprised that the program has been released. I've not sanctioned its release. I think he had sent a copy to State House for approval or perusal, and whoever was excited at State House released that program. I personally saw it from a PS from Cabinet Office called Naomi Tentamashimba. I was broadcasting here, and I saw the program. You know, I usually check what's happening on Facebook for comments, feedback. Sometimes I have no volume, so I have to check what's happening on Facebook. And I saw she had published this program. I contacted Makebi Zulu. He was not answering. But while we were broadcasting and callers were calling, he sent me the fresh release, a fresh brief statement from the Secretary to Cabinet that said that program is a draft program. It should be considered as a draft, and it should not be considered as official, so it should be ignored. Well, I think the Secretary to Cabinet was attempting to control what could be controlled. And an agreement, when I later came off the program, I was advised that the Secretary to Cabinet had assured that before the family leaves from South Africa to Lusaka, a fresh binding program will be released to them by 7-8 hours in the morning. And before they leave South Africa, an agreed program will be communicated. That was not to be. In the morning, the family was frantically looking for a fresh program. We want to acquire a program ilikuwa isehemu hivi that mwala chinja. Bushena muchinja pa airport. That day we saw the full state armor mobilized. The road from the airport roundabout, when you're going to, on Great East Road, when you're going to Chongwe and to the airport, literally hundreds and hundreds of policemen were deployed. The airport was encircled. The family, I think, didn't even receive the invitation cards, those that were to receive the late president. There was the former minister's wife, who used to interact with the former first lady when when the spouse was head of state, they were to receive the first lady at the airport. There was no indication if they were going to be allowed due to the tight security. On the political side, there were even things happening where the UPND, videos started circulating that they had printed T-shirts and that they were going to cause violence, and all these from the political side was that the interpretation would be that there should be chaos, and the justification by the state not to take the remains to Chifwema. The family anxiously kept on trying to call Lusaka. No one was picking up the phones. If you saw that day, our media team was already broadcasting where the body will be. You saw pictures of the body where they had all gathered, wore black. They had put their bags in the buses. You even saw the family, even that address by the family. They were all in black, prepared to go to Lanseria and leave by 10 hours because there was a ceremony that should have been done by the South African government. There was no communication. By 11 hours, there was anxiety everywhere because SABC, ENCA, local media, radio and TV stations, our own media, were at Lanseria Airport. And we didn't have any information. And then we're told, look, government has reneged on this. First, the amount of state deployment that has occurred, it's like they don't even want people to line up that airport road. They don't want the honor that was given, for example, when Michael Sata died or when Levi Mwanawasa died. That airport was open for all, if you remember. In both cases, maybe because they were heads of states. But whatever it is, there were a lot of things hanging in the air. The official program was not released. It meant that the ordinary program would stand. Nerori neri ashdia church service abo tumfuida wale chitapesi mu VIP lounge kashingani banani abo. The family regrettably had to make that decision and cancel that repatriation. We saw on Thursday the president angrily address the nation and literally said the country has to move on. We can't be held ransom. Look, I've tried everything. There's no way forward. We can go back to our normal lives. What do you expect the family to do after you make such an address? And the entire time, your entire media machinery is insulting the family. The entire time, your media is scandalizing the late president, even in his death. You are speculating about planes. No, it's Vauden Findlay. No, it's James Ndambo. And you are heaping insults. No, he's not actually even dead. What do you expect the family to do? So the family had to respond, okay, he has cancelled the period of national mourning. He has made the environment extremely hostile. And he says we should go back to normal lives. They even planned to table the draft constitution in Parliament on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. They even tabled the new closed-circuit television law, a very, very bad law, a very terrible law. Passed in. They said life has to go on. Tuanaka, tualosha tuanaka. And that was a narrative from the ruling party and its praise singers, tuanaka. They would invade our media spaces and natunaka. We want to look, let's do something else. Okay, the family said, okay, please do something else. And we'll put the remains of the late president in South Africa temporarily until such a time that there will be a friendly government that can respect the dignity of the late president, that can put him to rest with dignity in an environment that's not replete with hypocrisy. Because our president, we need peace united. but because when newspaper yabo ile tukawa Edgar Lungu, even in his death, the family and everyone, and busy scandalizing all of us. An extremely hostile environment. And was at MBC, they've never even run tribute to Edgar Lungu. But I have a part of my interview, no in-depth. Because the success of Edgar Lungu, of building roads, bridges, dams, power stations, schools, colleges, universities, clinics, mini hospitals, teaching hospitals, new medical schools will be told on ZMBC. And UPND is busy trying to appropriate that. ZMBC has never run a proper tribute for the late president. The late president, the current president, President Hakainde, must never come to the media. Mwewekala chalo, uyatushile, alinifi, nena mwishiwefi, nangutwari pusene. But this was a man who led us for 7 years. We could have had our own differences, but we are Zambians, we are united, in grief. Death doesn't bring division in Africa. It unites families. Death brings peace among communities. Death doesn't bring discord. But they've allowed all those things to occur in the death of the late president. And they want to blame a hapless. The victims have become the villains in their narrative. So I'll be opening phone lines, and I want you to be brief in your remarks. I want you to make your remarks brief. The president today met the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Let me read what the president said on his write-up, on his page. He posted this. We're honored to receive a courtesy call from Mr. Ronald Ozzy Lamola, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of Zambia. Minister Lamola conveyed heartfelt condolences from His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa and the people of South Africa on the passing of our 6th Republican President, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We held a meaningful and respectful discussion regarding the burial of the late president, during which we reaffirmed our firm position that His Excellency Mr. Lungu should be laid to rest in his homeland, the Republic of Zambia. We extend our sincere gratitude to the President of South Africa for the care extended to our late president during his period of illness. This is an interesting statement. We extend our sincere gratitude to the President of South Africa. Listen to this. We extend our sincere gratitude to the President of South Africa for the care extended to our late president during his period of illness. You know what came to me? Mr. President, where was your care as Zambia during the extended period of illness by the late president? You are thanking a foreign government for doing what you should have done. So he says, we also express our apologies to the South African National Defense Force for the unexpected challenges surrounding the repatriation of the late president's remains on Wednesday, 18th June 2025. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. And those are the pictures you saw of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So my question again is, Mr. President, you said we extend our sincere gratitude to the President of South Africa for the care extended to our late president during his period of illness. Imwe wakateka uwafilisho when wali kuisa in the last 6 months. Ido mleta shawa South Africa. Where was South Africa compelled to provide care for the late president? To repeat, to regularly phone him, to send emissaries to him, to send even private support to him. Imwenga wakateka mwali kui. Here are the most important comments just to respond before I open the lines. There is propaganda that has emerged First from SABC that the late president bought a house in South Africa, so it entitles him to bury in South Africa. That's not what the law in South Africa is. All you need is if you've died in South Africa, you can be buried in South Africa. So Sophie Mukwena misconducted herself. She's a professional. I've worked with her very often. You see interviews, Sophie and myself. I've been in the SABC studios several times. I know almost all the entire staff, even those that have gone to the other media. That's why I was able to appear on multiple media, because it's like SABC is like a birth or a nursery for proper, broadcast journalism. So whether I went to radio stations or the TV stations or the new ones, Newsroom and others, I met all this, those journalists when I was Zambia's ambassador to South Africa, High Commissioner to South Africa. And I know Sophie Mukwena personally. And I sent a private message. I said, I've seen 3 reports and they've been very bad. It's not like you are a professional. So here she has lied that the late president bought a house, or the Lungu family have bought a house. I put it on record to you and I challenge her to produce the records. The family has not bought any property. Sophie Mukwena lied in her analysis. There's another matter. When the family Makebi Zulu, when they played Makebi Zulu, where Makebi Zulu said the president was prevented from coming to South Africa several times. So Mukwena in her analysis said it's not possible. I know Hakainde Hichilema. I know President Hakainde Hichilema. He's not capable of doing that. As a journalist, you don't come in between the feud, even if you personally know the president. And the family was not broadcasting an opinion. The family was stating a matter of fact. It's not a contestable fact. It's not a speculation, and it was not a rumor. So she was totally misplaced to challenge the family, that because she knows President Hakainde Hichilema personally, that she then said, I don't think President Hakainde Hichilema can do that to his friend. I think what he has done to his friend. Then there's speculation that the president, while in period of medical checkup or medical treatment or hospital admission, that he would use pseudonyms and other names. People are even showing Zimbabwean passports on social media. They are showing other names. The truth is, all the medical records, hospital records, death certificate, everything is in the name of Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu of Lusaka, Zambia. Again, that we must immediately put to record, because abanensu nabengi like they accuse us of propaganda, but nibanyela muri propaganda na president wabo balekala palikoswa as an administrator, because if he doesn't, he would have stopped the nonsense going there and allowed an atmosphere in which negotiations can take place. But he has allowed this hostility to rise against the family. Clearly, he's not interested in resolving this issue. There's a matter I've been disclosing here, that President Jacob Zuma came to see the family. He says, this is unfortunate. The late president must lie in Zambia. He came immediately, saw the family, and he sought to leave and went to President Emmerson Mnangagwa, because President Emmerson Mnangagwa is a current chair of SADC. And Emmerson Mnangagwa is privileged. They are personal friends with the late president. They were in the same class. Mwarishwa, there is even a Mnangagwa village in Mumbwa where he lived for a long time, when most Zimbabweans that came and settled in Zambia lived around those areas, either Chongwe, Chisamba area, Mumbwa area. And he went to university with many people, including the late William Wanga, who we just lost recently. So he took personal interest. When President Jacob Zuma informed Zambia that he was coming to Zambia to attempt to mediate, he flew from Harare into Lusaka. It's just 45 minutes. he was denied landing rights despite prior approval. Imagine ngata ukwete fuel. Ushete hapo nendege baipa wa President Jacob Zuma. Our Zambian government, we have been reluctant to talk about this because we wanted an atmosphere that should allow for negotiation, that shouldn't fuel emotions. We didn't challenge the President of the Republic of Zambia why they denied Jacob Zuma to land in Zambia. They denied him. You heard the President, when Jacob Zuma was denied, Emerson Mnangagwa sent in the Vice President, the first Vice President, Constantino Chiwenga. And you heard that the President was called midnight. He said at the press conference, I've repeatedly played that video, that was told at midnight that the Vice President of Zimbabwe was coming, and he gave authority that time. And you saw that meeting that took place. The President insisted the remains of the late President will be put to Zambia. I will invest and I'll do what I can to ensure that the remains of the late President are brought to Zambia and is given a dignified funeral. It was not to be. The other matter, this delegation, remember when I was broadcasting yesterday, there were speculations that the President had traveled to South Africa. I later learned that it's in fact the Minister of Foreign Affairs that was arriving, and I think from South Africa. They call them Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. They don't use the word Foreign Affairs. I've seen even ZNBC and others even make those a brief mistake. Look, if we call our Minister of Finance as Minister of Treasury, you should say that. If he's a Minister of Finance, you should say that. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs in South Africa is called Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. He's the one that was arriving yesterday. So people must have seen the siren, and usually security accorded to foreign dignitaries like a Foreign Affairs Minister, and speculated that the President had traveled. To my knowledge, the only person that the President could have sent to South Africa to mediate in this matter is the Pentecostal Assemblies of God President, Mr. Joshua Banda. We are not aware of any other person they've sent. I'm yet to establish if Mr. Joshua Banda, Bishop Joshua Banda, His Grace Bishop Joshua Banda, is in South Africa on church accord or he has been sent by the state. I'm yet to verify. But he's the only one that has reached out formally to the President's family to attempt to resolve this outstanding crisis. What was South Africa's position on this matter? President Hakainde Hichilema has given you his position that they are desirous that the remains of the late President will be put to rest in Zambia. But what did South Africa tell them? They have not disclosed to you. I can tell you what South Africa told them. Mr. President, our position is very clear. This is a matter between you and the family. And if the family chooses to lay to rest the late President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, in South Africa, will respect those wishes. So, South African government is very resolute about this matter. This is a matter between the government of the Republic of Zambia and its former president and the family. And in the event that the family makes a decision that he should be put to rest in South Africa, the South African government will not interfere. And there are various precedents and processes. They've kept many former dignitaries, many former people sometimes that have fallen out of favor with their governments. They've kept many former presidents. Many people remember the case of Reverend Barry Steed from Haiti, who was in a coup and was taken to South Africa and lived in South Africa for 5 years at the support of South Africa has tried, not to repay, but to return the favor that they were given. Remember, the huge South African community of leaders were in Zambia. They were resident in Zambia. They lived for 30 years. The ANC headquarters was in South Africa. There are many governments, we gave them our passports to travel on as leaders because South Africa couldn't issue their passports. They joined our services. They went to our universities. They worked in our government or industry. So South Africa, especially the exiled leaders, have tried very hard to live up to the spirit. If there is any other leader in distress, or a community of families that are in distress, they'll give them, sanctuary. Of course, to some extent, that has been abused where, some communities have gone there, are committing crimes, but essentially, as a government, they've opened doors for other Africans, especially those that helped them. People would donate. Senegal put up a tax to contribute to the South African, liberation, and they would support the ANC. Taxpayers from Senegal would pay. Zambia, our infrastructure will be bombed then by Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, the sellout scouts. They bombed Luangwa River, the bridge to Mongu. They bombed. There's even a massacre that occurred at Nkumbi College. So it's in that spirit that takes place. So South Africa will not interfere. Listen to me. They will not interfere. This is a matter between the government of the Republic of Zambia and the government and the family of the late president. If you do not reach the deadlock, it will be. If you wish the remains of the late president and you've agreed, South Africa will facilitate. If you have failed, the remains of the late president will be put to rest in South Africa. And I wish to also highlight the video that was made by State House. You must have seen it, that AI video, inflaming emotions. It's literally hate speech. That video has caused a diplomatic crisis. And I don't know if the minister brought it to the attention. It's like the UPND are trying to inflame emotions in South Africa to rise against the family of Edgar Lungu. That video was below the belt. Fidia Tabachita. Do not cause instability in another country, because that's what that video is doing. And in my write-up yesterday, I even called out Ferdinand Simanya, because he's the first one I saw distributing that hate video on the blogs. Ferdinand Simanya is president of Zambians in South Africa, and he has a respected position. I worked with him. We grew the numbers of Zambians on the register from 5,000 to 15,000. He graced my occasion. But sadly, yesterday I had to reprimand him because I personally saw him distribute such a bad video. So I called him out on my video. That's what we do to friends you love. You have to sometimes reprimand them. So that was a low moment for Ferdinand. I've always upheld that he's a good leader, and I think the community in South Africa can speak for him. That is a good leader. But there was a moment of lapse, maybe partisan interest. Maybe someone from State House gave him that video, but he shouldn't have distributed that video. Mwebantu bakwalesa isen munga fweko chililo tulile bonse tulile weka atichalo liabangeshi lwaita bakakaweka isen tukake bonse ilishilu lia tutanga tapano.
Your Excellency, the country would want to know what did excite you, when you were at the helm of this country for 27 years. I'm sure there must be one moment you can point out to.
No, I think that my happiness, Owen, is that up to this point in time, as I've said already, I've not come across a single man in politics who is today thinking of splitting Zambia. Apart from this is my head man in Zimbabwe, this is the southern province. He tried to do that, I think, but he didn't succeed. This what he's.
Okay, so we...
No, I think he will finish that one.
Okay.
This is my southern province. What is he? The man is running his party.
Which one? Magande?
No. Oh, no.
He comes from Southern Province.
Southern Province, yes. This man, who is he?
Hakainde Hichilema.
Hakainde. Hakainde
Hichilema.
Hichilema.
Hakainde Hichilema.
Who running this?
UPND.
UPND side. Apart from that, there's no other leader I can fear to run this country. All these others who are running parties, I can't see any one of them trying to destroy one side or one nation.
Wish you well.
The lines are open. I'm just sorry I had switched off the phone. I'm just switching it on. I want you to contribute.
As we speak today, this is the 15th or 16th day after we lost our beloved 6th Republican president. No government official, and I say no government official, has visited Chifwema, the official mourning home of where Edgar Chagwa Lungu was residing. The president has not been to the funeral home. The vice president has not been to the funeral home. No minister has been to the funeral home. Not even the secretary to the cabinet. This is not how we mourn. Granted, trips were taken to go to South Africa, to go and engage the widow and engage the daughter, who at that time, with the sister of the late Edgar Chagwa Lungu, Betha, were the only relatives, perhaps, living in South Africa, who were with him. But here's the catch. Edgar Lungu was married to Mayowa Esther Lungu. Tasila is his daughter. There are other relatives. Betha is the immediate older sister, yes, but there are other relatives of Edgar Chagwa Lungu who were left behind here in Zambia. In my own small way, as a patriot, as a political leader, and wanting closure and trying to open up doors for this government, I did introduce family members to this government. Members of the family of Edgar Chagwa Lungu were engaged by this government. However, the meetings took place in government offices. This is not how it should be. We are not only educated, but we are also Africans. When we say we are mourning, and when you say you visited the funeral, it means you visited the funeral home. The mourners must not be the ones to move and come to a government office. That was again wrong.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato, I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato, I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and we need to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son,
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall?
Yeah.
In the 10th anniversary, or how do you get
to be dishonored? How
do you get remembered in a SDA church when everyone knows that you're Catholic and so on? And the state insists.
Thank you very much. We are live on Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. Today we're discussing update. Today the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation from South Africa met the President to discuss the status of the remains of the late President. President Hakainde Hichilema expressed hope that the remains of the late President will come to Zambia. Please make your contributions and tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, I would like to maintain a place of anonymity in terms of my name for fear of persecution that I have faced under this current brutal regime.
Thank you very much. Make your contribution. We accept.
Yes. Okay, so now, one thing that has baffled me with this current government is that forceful nature of wanting to bring the body. I do not want to bring in spiritual issues here that, of course, I think could also be at play, but I don't want to talk about that now. What I wanted to find out is, isn't it possible that a funeral or a state funeral can be held, or just a funeral at that, can be held without a body? Is it necessary that you need to have somebody's body present? In this case, the body of beloved late Sixth Republican President, who I'm so proud of because of his recognition of women and the number of women that he put in positions of authority, like myself. Is it not possible that if the government, we had a government that had goodwill, good intentions for the people, they would just forgo having the body and just say, okay, just to maintain peace, let's hold a state funeral without the body? Why is it necessary to have a body in a situation, not just this situation, or just in any situation?
Yeah, okay, thank you, my sister. And thank you for your contribution. Anything else?
Just to say thank you so much for what you're doing. It's about 4 a.m. my time where I am, and I had to wake up to just add my little voice to whatever is going on, and to just commend you and urge you on and congratulate you for all that you are doing. You are really helping expose a lot of evil that would otherwise would have been buried. There's a lot of things, I think, even the issue of that journalist, all those things. People on the ground in Zambia sometimes think what they see and what they hear on social media sometimes is always true. But one thing that people should realize is that we're dealing with a government that is a master chief of deception. There have been chiefs of deception, especially the president himself, chief of deception, even from before he became president of Zambia. If we look at even the warning that were given by Kaunda, if people had adhered to that warning, I think we wouldn't have been in this predicament that we're in as a country.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you, my dear
for
sister.
Zambia, and praying that things we be at a better place, especially come 2026. This should be a wake-up call to the Zambians.
Indeed. We need to pray for our country. Thanks for calling. I played that Kaunda video because I saw the journalist from Zimbabwe calling it fake. You can ask. The interviewer is a respected journalist. That's a valid video that was issued, and it was in his interview. It's a genuine video. So I played it deliberately for those that want to think that it was AI. Good evening. Please tell us your name and your contribution, and please be brief. Hello. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and tell us your contributions.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Your network.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Oh, he's gone. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, thank you. Maybe my first point would be I overheard the ladies saying that can we have a state funeral without a body? I mean we can't do that. ECO's body is already there, and unless maybe in an event whereby maybe it was a plane crash, maybe we don't have a body, someone died in a plane crash, maybe yes. But in this case, we already have a body, so I mean, there's no point of us having a state funeral. Then there's no body.
You didn't introduce yourself. Do you wish to remain anonymous, or you are going to say?
Yes, as usual. Yes. Then my first point is, of course, in our African setup, you find that every funeral there are issues to discuss. That's why the elders had to come up with the term "somebody for," meaning whatever issues that we may have at the funeral, let's discuss them after the burial. That's why we have this term. So, of course, I mean, we have so many things. There are so many mistakes which were made. Of course, we have the right to talk about, but it's just at the timing, because our focus should be let's bury the man. Then we sit down and vent, air out whatever thing that we want to talk about, which were not done in the were not done properly, because that will help us now to do better in future. But even if we were to talk about them now, I mean, what's the point?
Thank you very much.
Anyone. But yes, no, I'm not done. I've got a few points to talk about.
You have to be brief. Yes, I feel guilty every day I come off the program. The number of missed calls I have. Yes, I think we have to do it in a more efficient way to allow as many voices as possible.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, please. Quickly go through your points.
Hello?
Yes, please quickly go through your points. We lost him. Thank you. Hello, please. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, Mark, MK6 from Midrand, South Africa.
MK, make your contributions.
Yeah, it will be a very brief one.
Thank you.
I just want to do an analysis of the president's post. Firstly, that is a deception to us again, because as far as I know, South Africa is not involved in the negotiations of where our sixth president should be laid to, you know. So what I know, there was a post, or rather an editorial in the Daily Mail, complaining that the government of the Republic of Zambia hasn't gotten any official communication from the Republic of South Africa. In my understanding of international relationships, they came to make an official notification to the president to say we've been approached by the ECO. And we have no issue giving them that request. I think that was the message that the Minister of International Relations brought to Zambia. And I don't think any negotiations of repatriating the body.
Yeah.
So again, the president is missing an opportunity, because the key persons here are him and the family. It's not the South African government.
Yeah.
And I think let me end here so I can give chance to other people.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, MK. And thank you for your contributions once again. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. I wish to remain anonymous for security reasons.
That is well.
But I'm calling from within South Africa.
Thank you.
My contribution is that how I wish the Zambian president can respect the views of the family, for they have been disrespected and he has led his party to disrespect the family. So in this case, they are mourning. May the president please respect the wishes of the family and let them bury where they wish to bury their loved one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato, I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hello. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm happy that finally I've gone through. I've been trying and trying.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, I will still take to be anonymous, I think, because of my own security.
Yes.
But I'm calling from Zambia.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Ambassador, in the first place, I want to say many thanks to you for the job that you are doing, for making sure that the information is given out to the public in clean and clear without malice. Now, my submissions, I think, this evening, to number one, I think I was following the president, even on ZNBC, which I don't even like anymore, just to hear what was the conversation between the president and the minister from Foreign Affairs, I think, from South Africa. But in my view, the president still misses what he needs to do. Like the previous caller, the battle is not between Zambian government and South Africa. That's where we're missing it. And so if you follow that same interview, the president gave his side, assuming that no, we're happy by this and that, trying to give, his side to South Africa, and yet they did not even give an opportunity, even on ZNBC, just to air out what was said by the dignitaries that came to represent Ramaphosa. So in that in itself, you see that they are trying to play a game, even when the assumption that people are trying to mediate to assume that the remains of our own excellence come to Zambia. Even at this stage where you want to believe that maybe we should make headways, if I thought it was something that was supposed to be taken as an option, you can still see untruthfulness being displayed. So, in my own view, I want to still say that I think the wishes of the family to bury the president in South Africa, I think, should be upheld and should be supported by everyone, because coming here, I think all we see is just drama. Instead of mourning with the family will be frustrated, the family will be humiliated. So I think to avoid further humiliation to the family, let's just support that the remains of His Excellency buried in South Africa. We'll mourn and we'll observe from whatever media platform that we'll be able to watch from. I think this is my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and we went to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said,
please hold on.
Because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall?
Yeah.
In the 10th anniversary, or how do you get
to be dishonored?
How do you get remembered in a SDA church?
Good evening. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and speak louder so that people can hear you. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello. Hello, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling you from Lancha.
Please make your contribution.
Yeah, Honorable Mwamba, good evening.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and make your contribution.
Yeah, Banda.
Mr. Banda.
From Lancha.
Thank you very much. Make your contribution,
yes,
sir.
My contribution is just in line with the people that handle sensitive affairs that surrounds the president. I think they are failing him all these things that we are witnessing now, they could have been handled even outside social media. The people that would have received the information to say, okay, fine, the specific Republican president, Mr. or Dr. Edgar Chagwa has passed on. The people that would have been sent there first to understand from the family, the first meeting, what would be the burial arrangement, they could have understood what were the wish of the father of the nation, and those could have communicated to the president and do counsel to say, I think this has been the strongest point from the family, so we have to handle it in such kind of a way. If that was handled, even none of us, like people who are very far from the political world, we could have even known to say there were such issues. So it could have been an issue that they were supposed to be in the process, sorted out right there and then. We could have just seen burial programs, they are falling into place here and there, without even knowing to say, oh, the president, Hakainde Hichilema, wasn't even present for the burial because of ABCD. Maybe it could have been other engagement at international forum or anything else. We could have just seen maybe the vice president there.
Yeah.
So now we have brought the whole thing, the whole entire world is knowing what we was not supposed even to know.
Yes.
That's why we have got special advisors. They handle such sensitive issues, which should not me and other people should not even have known. But
yeah,
now
the family kept it. Even in our first communication, you are right. Even in our first communication, we never made that public. Yeah.
Taking emotions to run the affairs of the country than what is supposed to be done, putting the interest of the country and other people at large. It's very important.
Thank you very much, my brother.
We cannot say is the state property now when he's dead. If I never loved my neighbor and he has died, why am I going to insist that I loved my neighbor so much? It's not going to mean anything. Let's show love and unity when it is there. When the president was showered insults all over, we never paid attention. Now that he is no more, then we are also doing the political way of handling issues, which are even sensitive. We are hating the family. And do you think they're going to change their mind? It becomes difficult.
Yeah.
That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda from Luansha, for that contribution. Let's get as many calls as possible. Let's hear from you. The phone is jammed, and let's allow as many people as possible. Yeah, keep on trying. The line is busy, but keep on trying. Someone is asking about Jacob Zuma. Yes, his plane was not given landing rights and he had to go back. He was trying to mediate the crisis. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
I'm calling from the United Kingdom.
Yes.
My name is Kalumbo. I just want to contribute something here.
Okay.
What hurts the most is this: when the president Edgar Lungu wanted to go to South Africa, how he was treated, and the things that had happened, being refused, being harassed. Then you want the same person who did this to come and speak at the funeral. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
It's something else, because it then, for me, who are those people, I cannot in my conscience let that person who mistreated someone that I love to come and speak at the funeral. That does not make sense at all.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother.
I think if Mr. HH is serious about this, I think he should go himself to South Africa to talk to the family about this.
then they can come up with a solution to this. Otherwise, it will always be, we don't want our president, who we loved, to be buried in another country. We want him to come back to the country where he served. Otherwise, anything else like this, let them bury him there, because I don't trust him. I don't trust Mr. HH, and I'll never trust him again. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Ko, let's hear your views.
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem there.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba.
Good evening.
Yes, sorry, despite of what we are avoiding, I'm calling from Zambia.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Make your contribution.
Yeah, my contribution, Mr. Mwamba, is like the way we have been spoken over the situation which is happening. You know, some of these things, I know I'm from Eastern, I'm a Tumbuga by tribe. But remember, we say,
True.
And if you have to Valelanda, or Mukalamba of the Waungu. And the second thing, Mr. Mwamba, you have been in government for so many years.
Yeah.
And whereby if you have to thank you, you
what's happening to your network? Please call back. Please call back. It's just jumbled. We can't hear anything. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm calling you from Zambia.
Yes, make your contributions.
The problem that we have as at now, which will never be resolved, is that our president is egocentric. He's all about himself. If he only had to reduce himself from all this drama that we're witnessing, would not have been there. You know, the fear the family has on the family point is on the death of Edith Nawak. They had, their intentions was to do the same way they did to Edith Nawak.
Yeah.
That were their intentions. Now, as a country, we are mourning. Look at what their brokers are posting right now. They are claiming, the border is coming, he has resolved, injuring now, putting salt on the wound.
Yeah.
Where are we heading to? As for me and the family, I would urge the family to bury in South Africa. What is so special about the body?
Yeah.
We have to be Zambian. We have to be patriotic, not cosmetic as it is right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Please make your contributions as we discuss this.
Yesterday, June 18th, the people of Zambia were prepared to receive the remains of our former president, but were surprised by the family's reversal of the agreed course of action. At our request, the South African government prepared extensively with military honors mounted by the South African Defense Force, who did so in vain, as the former president's body was not availed by the family for repatriation to Zambia. For this unfortunate situation, we extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa, the government, and the people of South Africa. Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made.
Thank you very much. Make your contribution. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Costa Kavimba from Choma.
Yes, Mr. Costa from Choma. Make your contribution, sir.
I think I'll make my contribution more vernacular. So.
That's okay.
Chintu shukuru Mr. Mwamba ni mtendeli. Ndiye chintu shukuru chabande. President Rungu, President watu wa Rungu, I think 1.8 million Zambians voted him out. But maybe okay. For me, I didn't vote for him. But Munga it's not that when Muntu Kankara na every argument you mean that Akafa you don't like that person or what. But Munga wa President HH, maybe Wapeze Muntu Inangu who can stand for him. I think it's not a big deal kuti Wankare maningi check so goro that wafuna wakapeze keko. Maybe even the vice president, maybe that way, maybe because it's like these people strengthening a relationship from the beginning. You understand? So maybe Bapezeche Muntu Inangu, where Zakaba immediately okay, this person is standing for the government, but since we have Edgar Rungu is like so maybe you should stay away. As simple as that, maybe Chappy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the calls are so many. I'll try to get as many as possible to give you an opportunity to air your views. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and speak louder so that our audience can hear you.
Okay, I'm calling from Zambia, particularly Chingola.
Thank you very much. Make your name and then make your contribution.
Okay, I am Israel. That's my name. My contribution is that the president of our current president is self-centered. That's a problem Zambia is having. The other thing is Zambia is a Christian nation, and I bet to be corrected. Our president has, for the time he became a president, hasn't led the country in the Christian way. Because if we've got a problem where we've got a lost hero, the former president, and there are misunderstandings from the family's side of it and the government side of it, the best thing is we, as a country which is called a Christian nation, is go for a council of the Christian way. We need to go to guidance so that the problem is sorted out. But the president has failed to lead us in that direction. And the Christians have actually been quiet as well. So as Christians, the best advice I can give to anyone, because I've heard a lot of people from different political backgrounds who are condemning the family from what they did, condemning the government, condemning the PF, condemning the UPND. But at the end of the day, we are Zambians and we need to go back to the Lord. Let the Lord lead us in the right way, and we make sure that the problem is sorted once and for all. We can't sweep things under the carpet and just end there.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. You've made your point clear. Let's get some more views. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, good evening, Ambassador Mamba.
Good evening.
This is Bright within Kitwe.
Thank you, Bright. Make your contributions.
Mr. Mamba, I would like to just, I think, learn something through this platform. My condolences to the family.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, in an event like today we have heard, we have seen through the news, 19 hours news, that we had people in this country that came from South Africa. Foreign Affairs Minister is in Torage. Now, we don't know, they couldn't go deeper over what we have agreed. Is there any possibility that, is there any news that so far you know about the meeting that they had afternoon? Is it that the head of the former head of state board will going to be repatriated back to Zambia, or the board will go ahead as planned in South Africa?
I answered that at the beginning, my brother, and I can help you again.
I joined the sorry about that.
The position of Zambia is that the late president remains. The position of President Hakainde Hichilema is that the remains of the late president should be buried in Zambia. He has said that repeatedly. I'll answer you. Just listen through the calls, through the radio. I mean, through your device. President Hakainde Hichilema's position is that the remains of the late president must be buried in Zambia. He said that when the first vice president of Zimbabwe, who was an emissary of the president, came to mediate the crisis last week when it brewed. And President Hakainde Hichilema literally says, stay off, I'm going to deal with this matter. I'll invest in negotiation with the family and we'll get the remains of the late president to be buried in Zambia. He repeated that in his address on Thursday, that his desire is that the remains of the late president must be buried in Zambia. Today he has repeated that. The position of South Africa is also very, very clear. Is that number one, this is a matter between the Zambian government and and President Edgar Lungu's family. That is the position of South Africa. In the unlikely event that the family of President Lungu wishes to bury him in South Africa, so it will be. But essentially, this is a matter between the Zambian government and the family. So if they can't resolve that, unfortunately, the family's wishes superintend. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is 1K calling you from Lusaka, Zambia.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's after the from Mulelanda. Hello. Yeah, I can win no phone. I'm quite working. Share any point for much for Kulanda.
Okay, I'm going for.
I'm quite. If you have a clear.
Hello.
Yes, you can proceed. You can make your remarks.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
We can hear you. Oh, we can hear you. Please make your contributions. Yes, we can hear you. Oh my God. Try to go back, sir. Try to go back. Try to call back. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you so much. I think keep me anonymous for the reasons of security.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Mwamba, first and foremost, I want to say that I'm very disappointed in this government. The reason being, in short, we have a wrong man in State House.
Yeah.
When this person came into power, we had so much hope that indeed they would do something great in this nation. Now what we have seen afterward, it is the different story. At some point we may blame the advisors, but maybe the advisors, they are okay. The only thing is the person who is in State House is a wrong man. We made a mistake. The funeral of the president is supposed to be respected of the former president and respect the views of the family. Now, the president has continued issuing very sensitive and wrong statement. When he came on his second address, He was very upset and annoyed. He had to cancel the national mourning. He had to also use sensitive language, forcing things. You cannot force things in this manner. We need to unite as a country, but the big man has completely failed to unite the country. We voted the wrong person. Because what we need to do is, we need to come back to unity as a country. He has just governed using the brutal way. This is the brutal regime we have ever had in the history of Zambia, where they can even force to bring a funeral here in Zambia. Why can they leave the family? They decide so well. They plan as individuals. We need proper leadership. This is not a leadership. It's a reason why Professor Nelson Ngoma said that we have a wrong person there. He's not doing anything. As far as it stands, the country is divided, is splitted. Nothing is moving at this moment because of one person. We voted the wrong person, Mr. Mwamba. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yesterday, June 18th, the people of Zambia were prepared to receive the remains of our former president, but were surprised by the family's reversal of the agreed course of action. At our request, the South African government prepared extensively with military honors mounted by the South African Defense Force, who did so in vain, as the former president's body was not availed by the family for repatriation to Zambia. For this unfortunate situation, we extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa, the government, and the people of South Africa. Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning.
Hello, good evening. Mkwai mule umfuika landishen mkwai.
Mkwai na toterai. Na chala ndoko bati ba ambassador itisira chaba mchalo ngubuntunse. Na murumu na muzambie chitisire chako bati no info ya kwali ba fofo yaba. Info kwali ba fofo yaba. No but I think tufuira ba twambio ku control efintu. So that twambio kulamona ukobo ko bati umuntu lwachiri omumi teken tumuro deshe parapene. Noti ngafa na ngomarupa mwine mwade bakakasera. Mamonaka, which is very bad. Mamona ba ambassador. That's why there is no way out to number. Every to learn the number. Ishini mbosho bakashika bemba. Mpedifi akashita defo fe kuimba fe urwimbo. Umuntu ngalelwa ala ba glorious band. Ukwabula no kumwafwa. Nomba chida afwa. Uli apani ne nalume na rashitembo koji. Uli apani ne government. We don't want that. We want ukweba tu papero omuntu ali omumi bamwamba wesu lekeni twise tumitangate tumimonenga mwalira papero po bale mitintanya bamifumya ameno po bafuire ba government bayima nokwisapu nokwacha anawo uli mwina Zambia uli muntu leka troleshe but imo mabiwu yonse mwale itira mwebene mweka nokula mitumfya mwamonaka so otherwise abantu aba bafuire fyo babyere fyo bambi okusombola tatule punda potapali revenge ilyosa tukasambira shata kwakabe ukasambirira no ukesa pona yena kesa mukushito wine so afuiro muntu onsaishwe kwati balaba alipangiro problem yaso so na inenga na chitepifike sambera so aba chida chibafikira fie ukuthi basambirire ponomba baleke na bonsa ma president abakesa pona ntunguru shonse shikesa po chisambirire.
Thank you. Yo, Sondwe Leleni, I think Mwalanda po.
Hello?
Sondwe Leleni, kindly wind up.
Hello?
Yes, kindly conclude your remarks.
Hello?
Oh, at least we heard him. At least we heard him very, very clearly. Thank you very much.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and we need to speak at the funeral?
But how good? Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Mwimba Mwamba, please make your contributions. Mkwai.
Those people who are perceived to be your enemies, tabesa kumaliro yo. Ano abantu abalefu okukupa, ushema alishwa okukupa.
Mkwai, ilondolele ni abantu abale umfwa.
Kuno kuitwika la kumushkwali wokukupa. Indo shinga yalo omuntu. Ilafo yaro shapachitu mpakti yakupa. Ichwe chintu abantu afuyo kusuminisha iyo.
Natasha.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato.
Yeah, please hold on.
I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Afternoon, I'm in Dallas. Ambassador, I've got one concern.
Yeah.
And the concern that I have is that you politicians, you don't know how to bring people together, you know? Because what I've seen, no one who's trying to say the truth. Hakainde and Edgar Lung, they've never been in good terms from the beginning. What I'm trying to say is this. We are failing to correct the situation here. The best thing that the family, Mr. Lung, can do is to sit down with the government, you know, and reconcile and bury Mr. Lung. And like, you know, going back and forth, it won't help anything. See now, Zambia is being a laughing stock. Everybody's laughing at us because of the way we are handling this funeral. Mr. Lungu is gone. Let's look, you know, to the future and look and start looking at what transpired a long time ago. It won't help us in any way. Because if really we bury Lungu in South Africa, believe me, even Hakainde, when he dies, something will come up. So this is the right time to correct this mistake. And it would be unfortunate if Lungu is being buried in South Africa. I, for one, am against that. That man, he was the president. He was the president for Zambia, not for Patriotic Front, no. So for other political parties to say, no, let us bury him in South Africa, for me, it doesn't sit well.
Thank you, my dear
so
brother.
Let Mr. Lungu be buried in own country, unlike being buried in South Africa.
I think that is a desire of everyone. That's a desire, my brother. That's a desire of all of us. But thank you for your contribution.
Mazina yangu leo ni Nebo Betha Lungu. Ni Nebo nkashia kwa Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Chagwa Lungu emwaicho wandi uko nka ine panuma. Nomba ndefu ayokulanda kuchalo cha Zambia uko ati mumfwe ifyondelanda munivele maningi vamene vunufunola vila nifuna kulavila kuti uyu muvili wa Chagwa wamene utudoselana pali zino ntawi taoneka monga seyo lomba tawika mumanja ya mwine Mulungu niya kuti azive viti kuti tichite pali zino ntawi tifuna tinkale pasi tikambilane munga banja tizive viti kuti tichite osati seyo te banja tiwodoselana na boma tifuna kuti tinkale pamozi tike maganizo pamozi lomba tikunga kumva kuti mailo statement ya chinja lomba seyo te babanja titolepo chinji so pola vila vonse hivyo. That's why amakebi Zulu nievunu pasa mpamvu neo ne sister wao kuti atilavilile ku ziko la Zambia viti kuti vikonkepo vitufuna kuti tichite. nineewo nubapa mpamvu amakebi ozitolera lini mpamvu mubeeka bene
Fellow countrymen and women, brothers, sisters, and everyone who's listening in or indeed watching us. This is a statement for and on behalf of the Lungu family relating to the burial and funeral of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. As the public may be aware, we had engaged government on the arrangements relating to the burial of the late 6th Republican President of the Republic of Zambia, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Following a joint briefing between family and government, we came to an agreed position that the mortal remains of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu would be repatriated today, the 18th of June, 2025. It was agreed, among other things, that the body would at all times lay in state at the official residence of the deceased in Chifwema. It was further agreed that parties would jointly make decisions upon consultation. However, the family has noted with regret that there have been attempts to subvert the spirit of the agreement that the family and the government got into by engagement into the following on the part of the government. On the 16th of June 2025, a statement to the public was released by Road Development Agency stating that they would be carrying out repair works of the road from Crossroads 7 kilometers onwards. As the public may know, this is a road that leads to Chifwema, the official residence of the former president. It is also part of the program and agreement that at all times the body would be moving from Chifwema to Mulungushi Conference Center for purposes of body viewing, the state funeral, as well as the burial service on the 23rd. However, the notice from RDA put it across that the road would be under maintenance. When this was brought to our attention, we advised the Secretary to the Cabinet that we weren't comfortable with these works as they tended to go against the agreement that we had. When this was brought to their attention, the said works were suspended until further notice. However, on the 17th of June 2025, the Secretary to the Cabinet issued a statement restricting people from receiving or at least witnessing the arrival of the remains of the former president. This notice was issued without consultation with the family, and further, no opportunity whatsoever was given to the family to indicate whom they wished to invite, if at all the attendance was by invitation, nor were they given any chance to say anything as regards the said invitation. When the Secretary to the Cabinet was engaged, he only stated that there were security concerns, which concerns still have not been stated to the family. Following that statement, the next thing was that there was a program for the arrival of the body at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. This program suggested that upon arrival at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, the body would be taken to a designated place for a church service, and thereafter it would be received by President Hakainde Hichilema at the airport. This position was not an agreed position with the family, and the program was made without consultation with the family. When this matter was made known to the Secretary to the Cabinet, he stated that the same was released in error and was a draft, and as such should not have been released. Before long, yet another statement, which they termed a combined program, was released, which essentially contained the same, but further went to suggest that on Thursday, the 19th of June 2025, President Hakainde Hichilema would lead the body viewing at Mulungushi International Conference Center. This program as well was arrived at without consultation with the family. For this reason and many more, the family finds it very difficult to believe that the government will stick to their end of the agreement and have resolved, sadly so, that the mortal remains of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu will not return home today. It is our hope that someday his remains will be repatriated back home and buried.
And we are supporting what is happening between the family and the Zambian government. That is our hope. But once it goes to the situation where the family has to disagree, we can't force anyone. Yeah. So we have been very clear that we can't force anyone.
Yeah, that video is the video of the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation when he visited the widow, Mama Esther Lungu. That is a short video. It's not very audible, but I'll try to play it and increase its volume. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and speak louder. Mr. Anonymous, make your contributions.
Zimbabwe.
Yes, please make your contributions.
My contribution is that, one, I stand with the family, the position they've taken to bury the late president in South Africa. They should not rescind that decision. For now, I think it would be better for him to rest in there, because the environment is not conducive in Zambia. I end there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is Kenneth calling from Zambia, based Lusaka, Matero.
Kenneth from Matero, make your contributions.
Yeah, Honorable Mwamba. Me, I have a contribution, and what I want to talk about is between the two presidents, the former president and the current president. You know, for the former president is chosen by the Zambians, and the current president was also chosen by Zambians, regardless of the parties, the UPND and the PF. The former president is not the former president of PF, but is the former president of all Zambians. And the current president is the president of all Zambians. So I don't know what is happening, this confusion that is going on, and we're still waiting. Maybe it will stop, but it is still going on. I don't know, us youths, what are you showing us, or maybe what are you teaching us? Meaning there is confusion in Zambia. Me being a PF doesn't mean or doesn't qualify me to start hating HH, because HH was the president of UPND by then, but now he is being elected by Zambians, and he is the president of all of us here. So even the former president, may he so rest in peace, he is also the president, he is also the former president of all Zambians. So let us stop this division. Let us stop this division of whereby we are talking about bad things about the former president. We are talking about bad things about the current president. They are all our presidents, regardless of the parties that they are coming from. But they were chosen by Zambians.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much for your views. Thank you very much. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Honorable Mwamba, Ambassador, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, sir. Who's calling?
My name is Chimanga Musasa. I'm calling you from Lundazi.
Yes, sir. Make your contribution, sir.
Ambassador, I at times speak on behalf of Royal Highness, but today I'm speaking on my own behalf.
Thank you. Thank you. Make your contribution, sir.
The reason why I'm speaking on my own behalf, because chiefs in Eastern Province are afraid, sir, to be open, sincere, and tell their view over this issue, which shouldn't have reached at this age, sir. I sit with chiefs myself, and it's scary when you sit with them what is coming out. Firstly, Ambassador, I'm seeking that you don't cut my call.
No, okay. We'll allow you, sir. Say your thoughts. I'll give you some discretion, chairman's discretion.
Sir, in 2021, you may be interested that I contested on UPND as a candidate myself.
Yeah.
In 2021. So I'm telling you from the background as a candidate and both as a person who understands tradition. Now, first I'll start with the traditional part. And this you must take it according to tradition. The tradition is that when someone dies in our culture, maliro, stiyasha muliro kubiri oro kutatu, tiyasha maliro kumozi. Maliro kwamene timayasha ni kwamene kwa chitika maliro. Maliro yanachitika kuchifwema of our former president. What was shocking to all our chiefs in Eastern Province is that none of the government officials went kwendo kuza maliro kwamene kwa chitika maliro. The funeral that was assembled ku Patriotic Front ku Belvedere was on government side. Patriotic Front was on political side. Koma maliro ya mankhala ya banja. And you must understand me on this one. Government did not go kwendo kuza maliro ya banja kuchifwema. And that was sad. First mistake, according to tradition. Number two, you don't kumba manda before you see a dead body. Muntu akafera ku Lusaka, ku Sorowezi ngati mupeleka maliro ku Eastern Province. Not until that body arrives at a place pamene mwashika maliro. That's when muyamba kumba manda. Kuno muyamba kumba manda before maliro sianafiki. Mukakumba manda before maliro sianasifike. It means it's not a solemn occasion. It means it's a celebratory occasion. Chamene munakondwera nchani mkumba manda kopanda bene wake wa maliro. Mafumu yamene anafika kukuma manda kuti bachekinge manda mkumba bwanji kuli mwambo. Ni wandani. Ambassador Mwamba.
Yes, sir.
I am maliro yali ku South Africa. You never needed 2, 3, 4, 5 people to bring that body to Lusaka. You needed only one person. One. Choyamba, I want to help government. Government has a head. A head should have gone to those who believe. Edgar Lungu was a Christian. Those who have respect for their Christian faith. To go to that person, that was going to be the end of everything. That person, wamene Europa program, yamene wanachosa ya first alipo, muziwa alipo. That person should have been flown into South Africa. That person would have sat, Amama Istarungu, let's have mass. Talk to her. Veka, Vanyamuka, Notiritela Maria. Taika, Vinangu Vose, Simba Pambuyo. As tradition, we are sad, and this is abomination, and it should never go to our children. Now, the lesson is, Imwema politician, learn to enact laws that can give direction for a better future for our leaders, all of them, now and forever. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that is Mr. Chimanga Musasa, who is a political leader and is a member of the UPND, and he stood under UPND, and he has given such wise counsel that, first of all, there should be just one Murilo, that fire that we put at the funeral. Number two is that we shouldn't have dug the grave until the body was in Zambia. Hello, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador. This is Mwewa from Livingstone, Zambia. Mwewa.
Mwewa from Livingstone. Kindly make your contribution, my brother.
Thank you. Ambassador, what has happened in the past few weeks after the passing of Dr. Edgar Chagwa has exposed a lot of gaps in terms of governance of our country.
Yeah.
Just recently, as you are aware, Mr. Mnangagwa was a classmate with actually, they were roommates at the University of Zambia.
Yes.
He sent, you remember that he sent his vice president?
Yes.
To come and negotiate with our Zambian government.
Yes.
And if you recall very well, Mnangagwa acted like an African, a typical African man who respects his tradition. When Mr. Hakainde won his elections in 2021, he invited the opposition from Zimbabwe instead of inviting the head of state. Okay, but Mnangagwa managed to swallow whatever that maybe issues he might have with Zambia, and he sent the vice president to come and negotiate. Of course, they assured the vice president, and he went back. And then last week, before the coming of the border was cancelled, South Africa had to put up a very heavy military parade, which is quite expensive in terms of resources. Now, these two things now, for me, they have started affecting us because our bilateral relationships between these two countries, I don't think it will be the same if we don't review these matters properly.
Thank you. Kindly wind up, Mr. Mwape. Kindly,
Ambassador.
Mr. Mwewa.
The president there for some months, Dr. Edgar Lungu, about 7-6 months. And our president never visited him. Okay? All those gaps. And the other thing is that when the president died, I remember there was a program. Mr. Mwamba, am I there?
Yes, you are.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Oh, my God. Yeah, hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I am Kabaso from the United Kingdom.
Mr. Kabaso, make your contribution, sir.
Yeah, me, I'm just siding with Nabaraba Chilanda Wakasama. Naifwebe nekula kukasama kunafuma kuchishimba kuli. Abantu umuntu ndoshike tisereshe pa chitumbi cha mwana wandi. Ababa mdalaba chebafuna okutati baroreshe pa chitumbi cha muntu nishinaba kwata perfume. Efe finingalanda mwandeni. Afine bagitire pali amabana wakwi, ebadefo bagitena pali.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I want to end at the hour. I've got 4 minutes, so if you can reach us in these 4 minutes, you can make your contributions.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and we went to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son,
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said,
good evening, please make your last phone calls. I want us to end on the hour. I know the calls are many, but let us see. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mubanga from Lusaka.
Mr. Mubanga, make your contribution, sir.
It's just about, Ambassador, it's just about what is happening right now in our country. The problem that we have, if you go through the clips, you will see that the current never recognized the late as president. Okay? That's where the basis, the problem started. And up to now, he doesn't recognize him as doctor. Okay? Even if he is addressing him, he addresses him as Mr., which means the pride. What is killing us now is the pride. I end there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato, I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
It's Tikelelo. Amashinandi ne Charles Kawita. Ilelo ba president wesu bachi missing an IMB opportunity. Idia engagement bachikwata na ba Foreign Affairs Minister ba South Africa or in yachifuilo kwebo kutila ba president wesu bachita engage ba Mayo ba Esther Lungu. Pantu ba Esther Lungu no lupwa lwabo eba kwete pose pamuviri wabakateka wesu. Uko balala nikuisa niku Zambia nangu South Africa. Elo chale ngo kwebo kutaya mafia yonse yachitike fichitike. Mulando na relationship yalipo pali bakateka wesu abayashi kabi bakonkanye pokusenda mamutende na bahakainde Hichilema. Family ile ibukisha ifyale echitika. Ba president ngana philosophy mukufilanda wino is sneaked out of the country to seek for treatment in South Africa, taking advantage of the UN rapporteur who came to assess the human rights in Zambia, and the late president took advantage n'okufuma muno mukyalo. Pantu chiwe machitila ubukali bumfwa kumwine nangulo omuchele ufini na kulyo usendere. Ba president bale kalipwa bale umfwa ukukalipwa mu mubiri wabo eba ishibe fe extent ya bulwele bwabo bakwete. That's why he was in dire need of seeking for treatment. Uko baleya ukufuma nakale na mu 2015 kwena ndeyi ukishaba kateka balire. Lero kutira bakonka nyepo ukula mona shinganga wabo wale mona pabumi bwabo balisa abalesha kutila ma politics ale chitoyo. Aba bantu balelo shabatasila ba honorable ba Mayo ba Esther Lungu abanandi abena daliso na bashala na abakalipwa ero nga twakonka nefirelanda amakaddas ba UPND pa Facebook na muma social media yambya ashala uli wonse okalipiro ufwirirwe tetasumi nokufya obuteeko bulelanda ilero entungulushi yesu ba permanent secretary aba in charge of media batabokawana bachita post iyo elelanda okutila ukuchenjela kwa nkoko pungwa tasakamana batabokawana nga balelanda tatubasenda nga batabokawana tubasenda ng'obuteeko bwalanda nombali amathreats baleebika olwokuli abo abanenswa baleelosha balefa okutira baleeta omubiri muli kino ekyalo pakuti twise tushiike muno mu Zambia bala unfwa shanyi kuli ayo amathreats ikirefu ayikachakutira entungulushi yesu bahakainde Hichilema nga bapresident wa Zambia bakiteteemu amakaddas n'entungulushi shiri mu government natukwate fyo omuntu omwabe spokesperson who should be in my knowledge President Hakainde Hichilema to speak for and on behalf of government and the people of Zambia aba akulanda pali chikintu kufuma ku buteeko bwa UPND bafula lero ba Cornelius muntu abalanda okutira iyo family y'abalungu in fact balina emirandu shingi sana nombanga mwamona bamayo banalungu nangu abalume babo balwereshani baleyima okufuma ku South Africa mukusa mukululula emirandu muno mu Zambia ekyo kirera ng'okutira tabasakamene nangula ukususha obuteeko nangula amakooti ya mu Zambia taking advantage okutira abalume n'abalwala bakana okukita apia ku kooti baleesa. Now a whole lot of minister who is in charge of information speaking for and on behalf of government Ireland pa SAB news okutira abo abantu bali ku South Africa in fact bali kwate emirandu shingi sana kuno ku Zambia. What does that mean? Ero ba president na baletira okutira let's heal, let's unite. How are we going to unite like that? When in tungulushi tukwete mu government ishita kutuchita unite eshiri in forefront mukubika seed ya division kwena bamwamba mwe bakalamba bandi ba MCC bandi ichiretika muno mu Zambia tulefwaika sana lesa tulemfwaya sana kai ndero mba kuntungulushi mu chechi yonse beme bafukame ichichalo chirefwaika amapepo ichichalo chirefwaika true healing, true unity of purpose, not lip service.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our aspiring mayor in Kitwe. He's spoken very well, Charles Kawita. We'll be closing on the hour.
Your Excellency, the country would want to know what really excites you know, when you were at the helm of this country for 27 years. I'm sure there must be one moment you can point out to.
No, I think that my happiness, Owen, is that up to this point in time, as I've said already, I've not come across a single man in politics who is today thinking of spreading Zambia. Apart from this is my head man in Zimbabwe, this is the southern province. He tried to do that, I think, but he didn't succeed. This what he's.
Okay, so we.
No, I think he will finish that one.
Okay.
This is my southern province. What is he? The man who is running his party.
Which one? Magande?
No. Oh, no.
He comes from Southern Province.
Southern Province, yes. This man, who is he?
Hakainde Hichilema.
Hakainde
Hichilema.
Hichilema.
Hakainde Hichilema.
Who running this?
UPND.
UPND. Apart from that, there is no other leader I can fear to run this country. All these others who are running parties, I can't see any one of them trying to destroy one Zambia, one nation.
We should be out.
Last send-off of their former statesman. What does this do in stripping a nation of having that opportunity of burying their former statesman?
Kato, I still say President Hakainde lost an opportunity to be the bigger man. He should have just stood aside.
As we speak today, this is the 15th or 16th day after we lost our beloved 6th Republican president. No government official, and I say no government official, has visited Chifwema, the official mourning home of where Edgar Chagwa Lungu was residing. The president has not been to the funeral home. The vice president has not been to the funeral home. No minister has been to the funeral home. Not even the secretary to the cabinet. This is not how we mourn. Granted, trips were taken to go to South Africa, to go and engage the widow and engage the daughter, who at that time, with the sister of the late Edgar Chagwa Lungu, Betha, were the only relatives, perhaps, living in South Africa, who were with him. But here's the catch. Edgar Lungu was married to Mayowa Esther Lungu. Tasila is his daughter. There are other relatives. Betha is the immediate older sister, yes, but there are other relatives of Edgar Chagwa Lungu who were left behind here in Zambia. In my own small way, as a patriot, as a political leader, and wanting closure and trying to open up doors for this government, I did introduce family members to this government. Members of the family of Edgar Chagwa Lungu were engaged by this government. However, the meetings took place in government offices. This is not how it should be. We are not only educated, but we are also Africans. When we say we are mourning, and when you say you visited the funeral, it means you visited the funeral home. The mourners must not be the ones to move and come to a government office. That was again wrong.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. I'm taking the last three calls.
It's part of the contribution. Vamwamba vakateka besunista vaposhesha abantu olwama ministers vavo muminwe olwo vayikira pa airport oshani bemyafya amaboko twanako okulolera eki kintu tupeniko answer twatotera. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ireri ashidi yako sainene ngasuka shua icho tawaposesha abantu vayama muipushe kreso namasaka nangu abanenso abaku State House nangu abaku UPND mwawe pushati ushe umunwe wakwa Paulo uwa muminwe nishta baposesha abantu muminwe mwaipusha kwa babuteko tetindande on behalf of our president. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Louis Mkandawire, I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Mr. Mkandawire, good evening.
Evening, how are you, Honorable Mwamba?
Very well. Please make your contributions.
My contribution is that me, I have been in South Africa, so I heard that the burial is set on. They are putting our president to rest on Wednesday. Me, I know in South Africa, do they bury during the week or they bury on weekend?
Oh,
especially Saturday.
Good point. So in South Africa, there is a tradition under apartheid because if we're Africans, lionse tulakwate fidilo. Mwana nafwa nangu muipwa nangu muishkulu tulanavya tumwana nafwa batata nabafwa nangu nibayama. So the South African government under apartheid regime at the time, realized that, production was being affected. So they decreed that funerals only take place on Saturdays and Sunday. But that was the apartheid government. It has continued as a tradition, but you can bury any time. It's no longer like under apartheid. Thank you very much, my brother, for bringing it. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba. This is Jason, calling with Windows.
Mr. Jason, make your contributions.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I must say I'm very disappointed with this government because honestly, the first priority about the funeral, we need to respect the family of the bereaved family, of course. But this government doesn't show that remorse or that comfort to the family. Now, how do they expect the family to be so soft to them, whereby they are not comforting the family, they're not showing that remorse to the family that they have lost? Well, that's the grieving family. They have pain, those people. All these statements which they are making, they have pain. We are just helping them to mourn. But those families, they have lost their loved ones. So this government is just messing up things, of course. What is so important for Mr. HH to attend the funeral? What is so important for him to just step down? You could just step down and let all the process move smoothly. Because it's the cause of all these confusions which we are facing right now in the country. If he can just step down and let the family follow the protocol of the family, everything can just move smoothly, and we can mourn in one piece, and everything can be done.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. Okay. I'm waiting for the last call. So that we can close. I'm so sorry again. We've missed a lot of phone calls today, but I tried to allow as many calls as possible for you to be heard. Okay, I'm trying to answer the last phone calls. Okay. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling you from Zambia,
Thank
Mazabuka.
you. Yes, my brother from Mazabuka.
This is Andrew Karusha calling you. Mr. Mwamba, sorry to say so. I think the body for our 60th president, Mr. Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, for repatriating here in Zambia, it is just a simple thing that we can actually do. Because is that we all know to say traditionally, we need the president to be buried on his own soil, according to the traditions that we have from Eastern. And what is actually happening, I cannot also blame the government, because it's like the government has extended the funeral arrangements, but looking at the family, also to the side of the family, they are not advised thoroughly. Because looking at what is happening now in South Africa, the South Africans down there, it's like they are laughing at us. It's like we failed to negotiate between the government and the family. But for this thing that it has happened, and every Zambian actually is crying, let us just bury the differences and focus to the right thing that we can actually do together with the opposition and the ruling party. Let them come together and we bury our president Edgar Chagwa Lungu, because everyone is actually on condolences and the heart is actually breathing. So we also need to attend, because some of us, we cannot fly into South Africa because we don't have money. But if it can come inside here in Zambia, we can actually all go to and see our departure of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So we are referring to you, Mr. Honorable Mamba, to say you can also add a value to our country by also influencing and involving people who are on that side, like our given Ruvinda, Nakashinda, and other people also to come together. We bury the differences and we also move on so that we can actually move on in Zambia and we bring peace, because it's like every country now they are laughing at us that we failed to negotiate how to bring the board in Zambia. Please, then Zambians, let us just unite. Let us not blame the government, the Tasila, the Wati, but let us all come together into the focal point and find the right way to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you for your contribution. Okay. Again, I'd like to apologize. There have been so many calls. When do we end? When do we end? Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. It's me, Konge Kaunda.
Yes, Wamunkonge ku East London in South Africa.
Kwena pano na feba na rasu mpaora feba Mwamba nombane ndefo kuranda fya stages kwa ya tatu na ngufu. Ichele ngombe wa chinga sana. Stage number 1 kwali ukubeko ubufyuko na wero muntu ishi na pakwisa kuteko afuma kwa July. Stage number 2 mwini alirandira chara abalitaya kwali ukumupatikisha abwerera mu politics kubantu mubina bamufunishepo bamubepesho kweba tagwerere kofi omwine bade barengira tagwere mu politics. Another stage ro abwerera mu politics bakano kumukitala charengira tagwere mu politics bali mu kitikisha urechita mu politics so na ena amono kweba tirangu ndistire ditaya fo barenko ngachimono kweba ndistire ditaya kanshi kambe fo mu politics. Aba mu politics baikata ku kuchipatala kulya bali mu kitikisha fe akano kwya kuchipatala mpaka abo mfyamano yakwe mukuruisha no mupashole samupera na steni fya kwente mpaka afika kuchipatala bora kuchipatala afika aleruisho mwine in the process after tusha family muri yo process yali mwene pofimo ali shiri kwaranda na mashu yamu family yako nkayo amashiwi again basara ndokwe batyo amashu yale fuma kupatali baresta influence ba family yapitapo basa afika pa stage bakanse chiriro so family yatontonkanya nomba chiriro la bakansa ku Zambia, so which means tatfire to yako ku Zambia family yako nka decision yo bapangire yatayena toke to arashika kuno kwini kandi chiriro batukanya ku Zambia in short. Again chiriro stage lubarando kweba toke to alirufya so to mfwene na imwe to arako ngofyo murefu aya nakambi bachiri bale yafye mwinshira shabo isha kuiwamini kisha nomba awe tetsuma sana bamwa Zambia wale iskamenso instead wale akuli family again wale foko bomfya bufuntungu bwabo bakitikishe family ishike omuntu fo taringiri okushikwa, which is not fair. Fure tule bakone chinka ba government bafure fe barandoko bachitwarufyanya fonderu mwirati ba government sharumbure omuntu umo balishwa mwine ubatungurula twarufyanya kuri mu mweru kwa nomba we muntu barobole ya mukwe bati bakurandire kurabera naba muno kwe batiwe na urufyanya, which means ishpali ufuntungu abantu nabena ngachakwa bachitabali honestly tibakonka buru bufuntungu so ba government bana sheko fya bufuntungu nefile bambira no kurasta kurumenzi na kweno kwe chimfurunganya fyonse icharo futwara ndira Christian nation kampingwiria iya kwiruka nalirufyanya ndombyo werero itusunga nocho we muntu leo lechitira ko fefi na upama fe takwa abapo nangu nibaka bwalala kutaye kala panisha town aleko kuiba tuba muchitako linyenzi muntu lechinja fe ema system wali ngawali wale bo fe pakuiba abo fe which is not good to praise papa tamukwa mwamba kabale tumuntu munyalale muchibote basa Africa bali shibentambi babusana kuna abantu bashayishwe ntambi muntu wabure ntambi te muntu ntambi shisuma that's why fu barangira n'ababemba kimunshebwa ayirena nani kanyoko ekirenga nomba tatuwebwa mu cyaro cyesu kwamba okutwara umusebanya nomba kunse ya cyaro
tekitutemu ba president beso basebana lero bali omufwako bampandamano baba mu Zambia bengi mulisha mfumu muli ba filolo abapingole mira ndwishikuru kuchirana pali chichiriro kateka fuira ikara panshe aimya abantu bamwe bashabana mu politics bafikongo kulingana nevo chingaba nombalishi bapampamine fe pamubiri bali fo afyo kuroresha pamubiri fi chinshi cyo chine chupire fe cha kuroresha pamubiri bantu imfumu tashiroresha na pamubiri nawo chimone mfumu tayikara mu chitalere epo mfumu shirekara omuntu wafata ya epo mfumu ko yamukumara point of view bara ipangira kaya ndakumbyo ko yaraikara uko abantu nishi barerosha nga barerozishe chiriro mu Lusaka abakateka bali mu Lusaka na bapangiro kwa kwikara ku VIP fwe bantu na fwe chinkumba wire turerosho it's good nomba bena kana fe bapanga point of view ngawe effectively chava chisuma mukwa eba mwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello. Hello. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is the voice of Peter UK.
Wow, wow. My dear brother, Honorable Emmanuel JJ Banda. How are you? No, my brother, my condolences. We've lost a father. My condolences.
Yeah. Na forcing wati ala kutini chiteko contribute na ne muzipa neo ne muntu mozi olira nenzo funikali ni kuti pautini nkale na mpamvu ni lavile koma kuona vuchitika na tangi wakata mtima kuti mtima ni katetiani so lomba kuona vuchitika pa vakambika ni vinyinja kaze ni wasa mwamba koma mwe kwa muchoka mwamba ukasama uli mwambo uliko ukachitika maliro yaliyonse tuyamba tankhala pansi monga kwasi kupetauke kuli anungwe owera awere alute kuli walavena maliro vakaluta zila vijano maliro muyendesha tyani otiendeshe teti nanga kuoyika ni kuni okoyika ni uku na uku valute vaendere ngati ni manda tuluta anungwe na wabanja luta ona to ni hapa patasanga pati tukumbile manda tikaona ti ni hapa kuchoka hapo soti tichite noona to yamba nukumba asili chokumba o mkati tike mochinji aona vonse koma lomba vachitika hapa vangopezeka toti valovana vasokonezeka lomba hapa tichite yani ndiye patu kondo lutamba kwa kulu vikalulana vintu vasokonezeka so wenzofunika lomba valuta kumunzi kula kwa kuchoka kupetauke kumunzi kwa mkwama kulolo pasima mbumbu asemenza luta boma ya luta atola headman asima mbumbu na headman kwa mkwama akabatola no bauja werani kuno no luta kwa kalinda walo ndiye chief wao no waita kalinda walo tapezeka tina vuto koma paliko vuto panja na boma tenzo katijana lini bwino kuli amumbi soti mwabatola nawo amumbi akalinda walo nasima mbumbu headman na mkwama headman ngalani apatia vye alutana bachechi kwa chechi kapena kwa katolika atola akulu wa katolika werani apa no nato tilavijile nkoni lomba kuli wani kuli abanja tiendeshe tyani seo takata nkuku tenze tilakwa chifukwa uyu muntu tiliye mutole munga kuti mwatufunika lomba kuti timtolere timuyike tenze tiponi yako apa na apa koma nkuku ni mbuzi ni ivilomba hoyani mkatilavilileko kupanja seo ndisolakwa tenti nkhale pansi nje pabikondo yambira lomba kuluyambira kulabishana munga tumelini muntu soti ne basali munungwe atakalabishane muntu asali a headman asali a chief asali wa kuchechi kula kwa kuchoka mikwenzo pembera malemu then mugamba uti ai ni munga mkatume anevas mumba mwe brother bana ti kwani mkalabishane teta anevas mumba alabije chinji.
Yes.
So vonse bivuchitika hivi vuchitika mungani manyengwe. So apa boma ifunga pia inkale pansi kankala pansi boma no na uyu muntu otoka kwa headman kanti ita headman uyu muntu otoka kwa chief kanti ita chief uyu muntu otoka kuli ba church kanti ita ba church kula kwenzo pepera balute no kamba nao wapanja mvani na bakuchipani kwenzo pezeka sembeto lako ni banenzo mbwana naye kuchipani mkuru wa kuchipani ni umuku wera kuno we pamozi monsa apa kwaya ni mkalabile na apanja kuku ni ati murute mkate na mbuzi ni Afrika bala bantu mwambo no kamba boma yakata nkuku yakata mbuzi na nkuku ni hivi niola kwa komatie ndiye shetiani maliro ndiye mwatu kondo ndiye chintu choyamba kashi. Number 2 no nalomba kaona tuse apa ichichachitika mu country muziko yasu chankala chocho yamba from independence benzefika lyo chitikapo hivi kwa kuti olomwe wa mwamba mwamwenzera ambassador kuti muzipeze uko kwa muli chankala choyamba so apa boma enzofu konkala pansi ndona to tichitetiani lekani tiendiste sizi fire cheni wonse tichitari konsao tiendele pamozi uja amachechi ndiye ndau tichitari konsao wonse tichitari konsao nani uyu muntu wataluzina ngenze kolo ngechenze chimuti chachimfwire mwatenzo nkhala kutola nzeru cheni lomba tinkhale chinji tinkhale pamozi wonse cheni tichosepo vonse ngati palivatenze tiyambana tiyambe wani lomba chimwe chinzofunikira lomba apa numuja nchiurunga mwamba olokwano kasama mweyo ngati ndiye mwamkondendeshera maliro apa vinkhalerini bwino vinthu viipiretu vinthu so vikalyoipa ali wonse vino lomusogoleri wasu amene ali a president Hakainde Hichilema nawo kwa kuchoka kuli mwambo asemenza itako mafumu wako amene kula kwawo to mafumu mweyo kwani mkanilabilireko kuli achifu akalinda waro na mumbi na headman asima mbungu amkwama labirani nao tiendeshe tiani ichi chintu chanikulira munu ujashuwa muntu angakanire headman wake angakanire chifu wake angakanire wa church wake enzo mpemperera kuli angakaniri so apa chatufunika kyala apa ni reconciliation nga tichiteni reconciliation amwamba vana vanhu uko kwa muli kuvana vanhu kwa muli uko iboma ilimo kusogolo akaone mungoti boma nje irenga chati seo vano sati tinkhale bwino olwamene ava amalemu vana ukoona kuti erenga chakuti amalemu atisiye ni boma amba tichitetiani so apa olo ni nkhondo kondonkhana vapayana vanthu vachitana chinji koma ukondokamba to tinkhale pansi tichitali konsawo tiendele pamozi so apa mwamba vanolabira tiyeni wonse tinkhale pansi tisenzere pamozi chifukwa nomujani muviri wa malemu ngati werelini muchalo mu Zambia munkhale mulye mtendere mafumu apa na sogolero wa machechi ndiye nthawi yoita amene Hakainde Hichilema kuankhali kapansi kuti musogolere Hakainde Hichilema khala pansi apa tenti chitali konsawo ziko tenti yambe chitwambi vonse vira pamweze mwiyambana pamweze mwitana tyani tenti ikasaidi tenti uone kuti muviri wa malemu were unkhale ulale mwa mtendere na wonse vanthu tendekani vanthu pamozi chifukwa tikapitiriza kunyetana chochise ichi country apa yugavikana and ikagavikana country kulia hata katilete pamozi lomba chifukwa wonse oyo pakulavira ngati amachechi oyo pakulavira apa mafumu oyo pakulavira apa chifukwa lomweyo wa mwamba wamuchoka ukasama kuli mafumu nimwe makazeni wasu valikuni vala mafumu kuti wawerewe munuja akanyamuka chifi olo chifi chitimukulu akanyamuka kwanu kula akaruta ku yokamana akalinda waro namumbi nampezeni akakamana agabawundi munuja amai basu aesta ngambwelini anti basu angambwelini bana tonse tingambwelini uto makolo alabira koma numujani ngati ichi chinthu tichireremvye ndiye kugabikana kwa chalo bana basu ni chilomba zikakondane polini soti akayokumbwa chakuto no uyu ni mwana wa chite uyu ni mwana wa chite to abanjerengesha tata tavutiki ndiye chanechi koma amene ndiye chansi tentiletane pamozi tikatijane mafumu akwanu mweya mwamba bemba batumireni mairo nasi atitumire bakwasu zikatijane pamozi zita president kuti mweya president nkhalani apa ona ni chalo kwatukuya apa tukachugabikana letani bana pamozi olo mwenze mwivutika namwe president mwenze mchere mwenze kuni zirume nkoni lomba mwawawe shamwa yanu vasira kwa malomba cheti nkhale pansi tikatijane pamozi wasira chifukwa amwamba ngati na mweyo mulekelele kuti apa mulabire polina mafumu akwana makamaka achitimukulu ngati mulabire nini nawo nishi izambia igabikane.
Thank you.
Olaka inde Hichilema pamene apangata kumva nao lomba teti aite kapena na chifi wa kwao kwa kuchoka kuli mwambo abaujo tini itreneni chitimukulu muzambia mulima paramount chief alifo muli alitunga chitimukulu gawaundi na mpezeni halani pansi mwemu 4 tiye ni ndeke ni nkwani ku South Africa ikamponi na wama church wama church mwatola ma bishop wonse ku Eastern tina bishop Musaka muli bishop ku Kasama kuli bishop ku Ndola kuli bishop wonse ku Mongo kuli bishop ku Southern kuli bishop wonse ma bishop ndeke ni monse tiye nkwani mkakambe na panja wapaname kashi osati baite maliro tiye ni tinkazikane tilete mtendere pamozi. So nena labira koniva menevo chifukwa nane na mpamvu zolira nenzeve koma chakufungozi iba kuti amalemu alungu kwa kuchoka kuli mwambo kuli mwambo kwasu mwewa bemba muzibe.
Thank you.
Kuli mwambo kwasu kwa tuchoka.
Thank you very much.
Kulie kweti kumba mali kweti kumba manda ekumbika paliye munungwe paliye wabanja omba vonse vokuti ambo vikamba vasokoneza ili datarini bantu pamozi so vonse vasokonezeka tenti vike pambali koma patenti uone kuti chati chitirete pamozi ni chini zikoma mwamba.
Thank you very much. I don't know, my spirit just kept on saying, I take the last call. And there was a last call. Honorable Emmanuel J.J. Banda, legitimate member of parliament for Petauke Central, has been displaced under the circumstances that you all know, and he's calling for unity. And he says this matter can be resolved if appropriate action is taken. He says, let's invoke their Royal Highnesses and to work together with them, with the bishops to resolve, put them on a plane tomorrow to resolve this matter. And this is just no commitment. And he's talked about issues of tradition, what should have been done. You cannot dig a grave, the body is not in the country, the body is not nearby, and you don't do it with families. Even if you are the state is obliged to respect traditions. I have seen every time I facilitated for South Africa to come and retrieve the remains of their liberation heroes and freedom fighters that are buried at various, most of them at Leopard Zoo Cemetery. They will still come, for other traditions other than the member of the church, they come with those sangomas who will lift not just the body, but also the spirit of the remains. So there are traditions to be followed. You just can't do what was done. But Emmanuel Banda's key appeal is let the remains and let the demise of the late president, Zambia's 6th president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, be a moment to unite all of us instead of dividing us. And it's regrettable at this moment that the nation stands almost asunder. Thank you, Emmanuel JJ Banda, for your wonderful call, and thank you for being our last caller. All of you that are calling, I beg, we can have another program tomorrow. God bless you. God bless our country. Shalom, shalom.
Mazina yangu leo ni Nebo Betha Lungu. Ninebo nkashia kwa Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Chagwa Lungu emwa icho wandi uko nka ine panuma. Nomba ndefu ayokulanda kuchalo cha Zambia uko ati mumfwe ifyo ndelanda munivele maningi vamene vunufunola vila. Nifuna kulabira kuti uyu mubiri wa Chagwa wamene utudoselana pali zino ntawi taoneka monga seolomba tawika mumanja ya mwine Mulungu niya kuti azive viti kuti tichite pali zino ntawi tifuna tinkale pasi tikambilane monga banja tizive viti kuti tichite osati seo te banja tuodoselana na boma tifuna kuti tinkale pamozi tike maganizo pamozi lomba tikunga kumva kuti mailo statement ya chinja lomba seo te babanja titolepo chinji so pora bila vonse hivyo. That's why amakebi Zulu nievunu pasa mpamvu neo ne sister wao kuti atilavirire ku ziko la Zambia viti kuti vikonkepo vitufuna kuti tichite. Nineo nuva pa mpamvu amakebi ozitolera lini mpamvu mubeka bene
Fellow countrymen and women, brothers, sisters, and everyone who's listening in or indeed watching us. This is a statement for and on behalf of the Lungu family relating to the burial and funeral of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. As the public may be aware, we had engaged government on the arrangements relating to the burial of the late 6th Republican President of the Republic of Zambia, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Following a joint briefing between family and government, we came to an agreed position that the mortal remains of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu would be repatriated today, the 18th of June, 2025. It was agreed, among other things, that the body would at all times lay in state at the official residence of the deceased in Chifwema. It was further agreed that parties would jointly make decisions upon consultation. However, the family has noted with regret that there have been attempts to subvert the spirit of the agreement that the family and the government got into by engagement into the following on the part of the government. On the 16th of June 2025, a statement to the public was released by Road Development Agency stating that they would be carrying out repair works of the road from Crossroads 7 kilometers onwards. As the public may know, this is a road that leads to Chifwema, the official residence of the former president. It is also part of the program and agreement that at all times the body would be moving from Chifwema to Mulungushi Conference Center for purposes of body viewing, the state funeral, as well as the burial service on the 23rd. However, the notice from RDA put it across that the road would be under maintenance. When this was brought to our attention, we advised the Secretary to the Cabinet that we weren't comfortable with these works as they tended to go against the agreement that we had. When this was brought to their attention, the said works were suspended until further notice. However, on the 17th of June 2025, the Secretary to the Cabinet issued a statement restricting people from receiving or at least witnessing the arrival of the remains of the former president. This notice was issued without consultation with the family, and further, no opportunity whatsoever was given to the family to indicate whom they wished to invite, if at all the attendance was by invitation, nor were they given any chance to say anything as regards the said invitation. When the Secretary of the Cabinet was engaged, he only stated that there were security concerns, which concerns still have not been stated to the family. Following that statement, the next thing was that there was a program for the arrival of the body at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. This program suggested that upon arrival at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, the body would be taken to a designated place for a church service, and thereafter it would be received by President Hakainde Hichilema at the airport. This position was not an agreed position with the family, and the program was made without consultation with the family. When this matter was made known to the Secretary to the Cabinet, he stated that the same was released in error and was a draft, and as such should not have been released. Before long, yet another statement, which they termed a combined program, was released, which essentially contained the same, but further went to suggest that on Thursday, the 19th of June 2025, President Hakainde Hichilema would lead the body viewing at Mulungushi International Conference Center. This program as well was arrived at without consultation with the family. For this reason and many more, the family finds it very difficult to believe that the government will stick to their end of the agreement, and have resolved, sadly so, that the mortal remains of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu will not return home today. It is our hope that someday his remains will be repatriated back home and buried. I thank you.
Yesterday, June 18th, the people of Zambia were prepared to receive the remains of our former president, but were surprised by the family's reversal of the agreed course of action. At our request, the South African government prepared extensively with military honors mounted by the South African Defense Force, who did so in vain, as the former president's body was not availed by the family for repatriation to Zambia. For this unfortunate situation, we extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa, the government, and the people of South Africa. Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over. This will allow the country to begin to return to some normalcy.